yeah, I guess we're done with the. I mean, it was a great first episode, and I guess we did it. We did it, guys.
Yeah.
We solved it. So Biden's the
America
president.
saved.
America, we're good.
Mission success.
Yep.
That's
Back to
right.
being the world powers, which is sweet.
We got socialist Joe Biden and
Mhm.
Queen Kamala in the office.
Mhm,
We're going to
we-
have free healthcare, and also somehow all of it will be privatized.
Yeah,
Every fantasy comes true.
Oh, for sure. And racism is over.
Racism is over.
that was a
Just
weird
like-
4 years of racism, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to experience it anymore.
Yeah, geez, man, that was rough. But you know what? We have our radical left king, Joe Biden. We have our identity politics queen as the VP, and we're raring to go. We're ready to get empire back on track. Very excited.
And like, who better to represent all of the radical politics of 2020 than an old, dying, demented white man and a cop? Like, I love it. I love it. I'm so here for it.
Pretty on brand for the United States. We say sorry about that, everybody. We had this weird, I don't know, like I was finding myself. I was in this weird relationship. That was Donald Trump, and now I'm back. I'm so sorry, and I'm clawing back, and I want the American people back. And now we have the rightful heir to the throne, which is Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. He tried that first time, and then God said, "Not yet, Joe." And then he gave him a stroke. He was just saving it for 2020, baby.
I'm still interested to find out what was wrong with his eye in that one debate. I'll never forget that.
Oh yeah, where he had like just the blood, like
Yeah,
all that blood in his eye. I don't know.
just terrifying. I don't
Well,
know.
did we figure out what like happened with Mitch McConnell's hands?
I'm convinced that he's definitely on Coumadin, right? He has to be. He's got those blood thinner hands.
I don't know. It looked black.
I know. Oh, I've seen this before. I mean, I'll walk into pre-op. I'm like,
Mhm.
hey, good morning. I'm Dr. So-and-so. And I look down at their hands I'm already looking, for where I'm going to put the IV. That's like the first thing I do. And I look down at the hands, and sometimes you see that and you're like, well, we're going to go straight to the ultrasound, maybe even a central line, because those hands, that just means you're looking for trouble. But when it comes to Mitch McConnell, I'm excited that he's slowly bleeding out, it seems, into his soft tissue in his hands and anywhere else. That's a good sign, I think. So,
Or
pretty
maybe
excited.
like the eldritch magic is wearing off and he's just slowly decaying from the inside.
Like his
Maybe.
body is just completely emulsifying, like as we
Yeah.
speak.
Mhm.
Exactly.
If I can make a lib Harry Potter reference, maybe he touched that old stone that made like Dumbledore's hand go black. It's been a while since I read. I don't even remember what book that's from. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna cut that so I don't look like a liberal. Anyways,
Okay.
I was like, boy, you are on the wrong podcast, my
boy.
man.
I don't think so. All right.
This is a Harry Potter podcast now where like I have to read it for the first time.
Oh shit. I'll give you like the brief rundown. Joe Biden is of course Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris is I don't know, is she Hermione Granger, I guess? And then Trump
Yeah.
is Voldemort, or he who must not be named. And that's pretty much
That
it.
makes
Like
sense.
we pretty much Betsy DeVos is Lady Umbridge, the awful one from the fifth book. And that's pretty much all you need to know. I've just summarized Harry Potter in real life for everybody.
I did read the first one. I think
And
that was
so clearly
and
wasn't.
I don't remember much about it. I mean, I just didn't cotton on this trend. I think I might have read like one other random one.
Hmm.
Then I was like, oh, this isn't for me. Go
I
back to
mean,
Star Trek.
you gave it a shot. Okay, yeah. See, Star Trek's
Yeah.
never anything that I got into.
This is the greatest division in left politics. Like, what did you see or read as a kid? Was it Harry Potter or was it Star Trek?
Yeah, this is why the left has no unity. This is why left unity is never going to be a thing, unfortunately.
And we're not even getting into the Star Wars people. Oh my god.
Oh Lord.
We should probably cut all this, right?
No. This is all
Intro.
great and relevant. Yeah. Welcome back to Eminem. Here we are once again. It's all your friends. And what I don't know if you guys decided on nicknames already for this episode.
I feel like I have to go with Helen Killer now. Like, I can't believe I didn't use that right before Halloween.
Yeah, that was probably your best one so far.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bae Guevara has to be mine for today.
Yeah, I think that
Nice.
makes sense. And I'm just gonna go with the one I said yesterday, Fidel Cashtho. Probably the best one I had yesterday. So coming at you, Helen Killer, Fidel Cashtho, and Bae Guevara coming at you. It is Sunday, November 8th. There's a new president, and America's saved. And we're so happy to be coming into y'all with a new episode. Do you think we should start off with our queen, who we have no choice but to stand?
Oh my God. This is now a Jo Jorgensen podcast. Anything mean I said about the libertarians, I take it back.
Take it all back. Yep.
Take it all back. I recant, because the absolute fucking meltdown that all these conservatives have been having about Jo Jorgensen becoming their Jill Stein has been so funny.
Incredibly
it's just made
good.
up for.
Yeah. And showing the normalcy of their brains, and it's a really nice flip to all of the things we saw in 2016 with Jill Stein. It's just so good, and I can't get enough. Do you want to take us down that route, Helen Killer? You want to go ahead and take us down?
I can. There isn't terribly much to say aside from there's some very good choice Twitter threads about where people are melting down. They're going by like state by state and figuring out where were the swing states and where did the libertarians take more votes than the margin that Trump won by, or Trump lost by, or Biden won by. And it's actually kind of coming from both sides of the aisle, at least earlier in the week when it was a little bit less unsure. Like this one post on Twitter, this feels ... under discussed. Wisconsin, Biden won by 31,000 votes. Libertarian candidate got 38. We're going to say her name, Jo Jorgensen. Georgia, Trump is up 20K, but the margin is shrinking. Libertarian Jo Jorgensen, Queen Jorgensen, got 60K. Arizona, looking to be a dead heat, but a dry dead heat. I don't really get that pun. Jo Jorgensen
because
got
it's
40,000.
the desert. It's a dry heat.
Oh, that's it.
Fuck out of here. Anyways, yeah.
That's a bad pun. I don't know. Okay.
Really bad.
I thought it was a little bit more than that. And then on the Democrat side, just so we are clear, Jo Jorgensen received 60,022 votes in Georgia. Biden is currently behind by 31,306. How's that vote for your quote conscious feeling now?
Damn.
Yeah.
Got him.
Wonderful. And then in terms of other Libertarian Party victories, there was someone who actually did get into a state house. Oh yeah, the Wyoming State House. Which is apparently like the first
big pickup there. Huge pickup.
Huge win.
Mm-hmm.
A historic victory, a state house seat for the first time in almost 2 decades. Congratulations to Marshall Burt.
Congrats. Getting the Congressional Medal of Eminem. We're sending it to your address. Just let us know what your address is and we'll send it out.
That's right.
It actually is kind of I don't know. It's not a big deal, but it kind of is a big deal. It's been like 20 years since this has happened. So, I mean, go off. Hats off to my man. And let's get these guns, let's get these taxes gone, and I don't know, whatever else libertarians like.
Yeah, age of consent laws. I'm all for a more vigorous alternative parties.
I'm really into like talking about the tyranny of state, local, and federal government, but not the tyrannies that are corporations and the private sector. That's what I'm really about in my libertarianism. Right. So.
And then just one other statistic, around 57% of all voters who selected neither Democrat or Republican for president in both 2012 and 2016 chose Libertarian. And this year, that share was closer to 69%. Very nice. Very nice. Sweet. Congratulations to the Libertarian Party. And I scoured through the cesspool of 4chan because I thought just them crying was pretty funny also. And there was one very good post from Anonymous. Why were there no Jill Stein celebration threads in 2016? So I feel like we should, I don't know, maybe the conservatives should be doing like a retroactive shout out for Jill Stein.
Certainly. I don't know. It is a big moment for them. I do want to say, I don't really understand the people who, maybe this is like the same argument that the Jill Stein voters would give you 4 years ago, but I really don't think it's like, it doesn't mean anything to say, oh no, Trump lost by, let's say, 30,000 votes in Pennsylvania, and Jo Jorgensen got 70,000 votes. Like, you fucked it all up. Now we're gonna have, like, gay, queer, black, liberal utopia and no more guns, and now we're fucked. But the reality is that what's more likely is that these libertarian voters, like, if not offered a libertarian candidate, they probably just wouldn't have voted, right? And there's also no guarantee that these people wouldn't have voted Democrat. I'm sure there are some people that would have voted Democrat if given the option. But overall, these are people who more than likely just probably would have stayed home, or not, maybe done some down ballot voting, and not anything for the general election. So I just think it's a stupid argument to make, but a popular one, which shows you where people's minds are at, I suppose. Bae, you're pretty quiet. What is your take?
Oh my gosh. I think my general feeling is one of dejection. Like, I personally, like, I find no joy in like this election whatsoever. I think I'm very much part of the sternly left movement that if you cast your vote for Biden, it was simply because you hated Trump. It wasn't an acceptance and excitement for the Biden campaign and the Biden platform. I think, like a lot of people, we took a tremendous amount of joy waking up on Saturday morning and like seeing those results, but for completely separate reasons. And I just felt no excitement whatsoever in regards to a Biden presidency. I think there's kind of a deep visceral enjoyment to seeing Donald Trump and his motorcade yesterday have to go through all like the celebrations there in DC.
That was tight.
I took tremendous joy in that. Like, but outside of that, and he didn't even fucking rage tweet. I was like, boy, get on Twitter, go offer me.
Yeah, this is the time. If not now, when?
That was the only thing I was like so excited for. I wanted to see his brain just like melt on Twitter, but they denied us that. They must have like fucking adamant him or something. I don't know. Just took him out for a couple hours.
Like, to be honest, it was like a great TV series, right? That runs for like 6 years, and that last season, everything is supposed to be tied in together beautifully, and it just falls off the fucking map. We had 4 years,
like Game of
tremendous.
Thrones?
Exactly. Yes. Like, first 5 seasons, wonderful, right? Last 2 like seasons, just fucking doo-doo.
So sad.
Yeah.
But no, I was so looking forward to him just having a complete aneurysm on Twitter, and was deprived, strongly deprived.
I think the best tweet was the very simple one. It was early in the day. What was it? It was just like, I won Pennsylvania by a lot. Or like, that was it. That was the tweet. And I just thought the simplicity. Go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, I was just saying, there's the simplicity of it. It's very forward, very direct. No substance behind it. I just like, man, I wish I had that confidence all the time in myself or just anything I do.
I hadn't been on Twitter for like a while, but I wanted to just check the TL, and they're finally censoring his like false news or something, like his lies. Like, what? Like, thanks. Like, after what? How many years?
I know.
Like, why now? I mean, I can look at it. You just have to click through, but like
the visual optics of that are terrific, right? Like, the visualization that you just see like a thread of Trump's tweets and they're all blocked with like commentary, be like, the information here might not be accurate.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an entirety from what many consider the figurehead of the world. I love it.
It is nice that Jack is doing it now, but should have done it before. Yeah.
I did get also censored by Instagram for trying to send someone a PDF of Michael Parenti's book, so I'm feeling quite censored also.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like we're on the left. We are used to that, but now the big wet boy being censored. It is nice every single tweet. It's like, this information has not been verified, which is just like, this bitch is lying, which is really good to see. My problem I agree with what you're saying there, Bae Guevara. I got a lot of joy in watching him lose. Probably the biggest joy I've had in the last several months. And to see his downfall in real time, like while him and his like team of like demonic psychopaths like Rudy Giuliani and people of this ilk, like, oh, Corey Lewandowski made a comeback. Like, where the fuck has this guy been? And now he's all over the place. Like, we won Pennsylvania, no doubt about it. I'm like, dude, you've been gone for like 2 years, my brother. And then Sean Spicer even made an appearance. He's like, this is a legitimate recount of the, I'm like, my man, I haven't even thought about you probably since like your fake SNL appearance. You know, so people coming out of the woodwork, love to see it. But my biggest problem outside of all of these things, which is like a problem we all expected, right, is that this motherfucker, Biden, who, you know, far left radical socialists were being told, right? This motherfucker is ready to put all kinds of dipshit centrists and conservatives in his cabinet. And of course, we expected it. People on the left expect this. But what's most demoralizing is that liberals are like, can't wait to reach some bipartisan consensus, like as if the entire Obama presidency is just completely wiped from their mind by now. Like, this dude already tried it. He was far more charismatic, far more conciliatory. And here comes Biden, who is on the edge of end-stage dementia, and he's ready to try the whole thing over again. I mean, what the fuck? And Democrats have no problem with this. Liberals have no problem with this. And I want to ask to all of the liberals out there listening, again, we're not trying to shit on y'all. We're trying to get you to open your eyes and ask, why is this happening? Chris Hayes style, why is this happening? Because if you're not asking that, you do not understand fucking power. And the power is leading us down a road of Mitch McConnell retaining his Senate majority, and continuing to do the same fucking bullshit he did for most of Obama's presidency, which is block everything fucking possible. So have fun. This is probably, honestly, to me, this might have been the worst outcome, because now we have Biden as president. We have a Republican Senate. So what's going to happen in the next 4 years? Absolutely fucking nothing. So good. Can't wait for 4 more years of stagnation.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. It's not absolutely nothing's going to happen. There's going to be a complete rightward drift, right? And it's going to be phrased as incrementalism and moderation and unity politics. But whose unity, really? Like the capitalist ruling class elites of this country's unity. And in very many ways, that's exactly why I'm dejected. Like, why would I be excited about a Biden presidency, apart from the general visceral feeling you get upon learning that Trump has to be removed from office? Even if there's fucking joy in seeing like the Secret Service like drag his fat slimy ass right on out, right? Like Biden.
I'm excited for that, at least. Yeah,
exactly right. Biden represents like a tepid call to reformism, if you will. And reformism isn't even his vocabulary either. Like, if you listen to his speech on Saturday night, accepting the nomination, he offered nothing in regards to substance, nothing in regards to policy. It was all continuing to speak of this bullshit myth of restoring the soul of this country. And also proclaiming that our enemies are not our enemies. We are Americans. And
that was maybe the worst part of his speech last night. I was like livid hearing this shit, because what is politics if not finding the people you agree with, finding the people you don't agree with, and organizing against them? That is what fucking politics is. And instead, yeah, we get this like vague, like sanctimonious bullshit, this nothing statement to, restore the soul of this nation. I'm here to bring unity. What did he say? I don't see red states. I don't see blue states. I see the United States. And I vomited immediately.
Oh my God.
It's like, come on, the most cringe shit imaginable. And yeah, that speech last night is just like total confirmation for everything that, you know, all three of us and other people on the left have been expecting. I don't know why it hit so hard, because I was expecting it. I don't know why it really gut punched me, got me in my feelings. I thought about going to sleep early, but of course I didn't. But anyways, I cut you off. Why don't you continue?
No, I mean, like, think about the hypocrisy of the messaging of restore the soul of this nation. If you're truly about that, then what that means is you want to restore faith in our democratic institutions. You want to restore that type of sincere and genuine belief that the institutions and systems that we have in place, that they work as they should in a, quote, democratic manner. But when you preach this message of unity and tell us that our enemies aren't our enemies, what you're really saying is that there isn't going to be an accounting for the like tremendous harms and the lawlessness and the corruption of the past 4 years. And there's no way this nation could heal and try to understand that, hey, our democracy does work. The institutions were tested, and look at us, we're successful. The only way that happens at a public level is if there's a strong accounting, a legal accounting. Fucking go Spanish Inquisition on Bill Barr, please. Pull his skin.
Parody.
Like,
Parody.
But like, come on, man. Like, are
Irony,
you fucking
yeah.
kidding? Like, do not tell me that the people who are literally out here, that one of your favorite hashtags is locking children up in cages, that the complete decimation in healthcare, the undermining of it, the people who have lost their lives from chronic illnesses during these periods, and most importantly, currently, the 230,000 people that have lost their lives from COVID in a fucking pandemic. That in itself requires an accounting of justice. So when you sit out here and you say, oh, let's restore like the soul of this nation, and go across the street to your neighbor that hates you because you're like the color of your skin and give him a big fucking hug. Because we're Americans, buddy. Like, you got to be shitting on me. Like, that just exposes the Democratic Party and what they represent for the fucking hollowed out careerist politicians that they are. And the reason why so many Americans hate him. And also a reason why so many people of color for the first time in history voted for Donald Trump in comparison to other Republican candidates. Like, that is fucking hilarious. And if you can't do some soul searching, I think we should, well, let's say it early, hand. My honest take is we should guillotine you.
Parody.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think like probably the right thing to do is to drag, all these people, Trump, Team Trump, Bill Barr, like all of these people, chain them in the lower deck of some, 15th century caravel, bring him to the Iberian Peninsula and set up the execution that he deserves. Parody. I think that's probably what these like these are like the most nauseating, like repulsive people alive. And you're talking about, it's not just Biden, right? It's like I'm seeing people on Twitter. I'm back on Twitter and like I hate myself for it, but also it's like I will never leave Twitter because I can't believe it's still free for the amount of entertainment I get from it. But just all these liberals on Twitter, just like, what did I see yesterday? I was like, I can't wait to have like an honest discussion about issues regarding bipartisanism with people who like this is what you're excited for. Like what about all this time that you're talking about these people should be like locked up, these are awful people, they're racist, they're rapists, they're all these things, and now it's like can't wait to have a lively discussion with my fellow Americans. What is wrong with you people? I'm serious. Like, I'm not saying this is all liberals, but I'm seeing this a lot. And here's the secret, folks. Like, conservatives, as much as I disrespect their political tendencies, they actually understand power, right? They get it. They understand how politics works. Prime example of that is, I'm going to say it again, ACB, Amy Coney Barrett, and her nomination to the Supreme Court. All of the liberals, when this was first happening, oh, there's no way the Republicans will do it. The McConnell rule. They'll wait till after the president because it's in a presidential year. You fucking kidding me? You really think the Republicans are going to do that? They were serious about it. And I told everybody, like in my real life, at least, like my real life friends, they're like, what do you think is going to happen with this? And I told them exactly what was going to happen and exactly what did fucking happen. Because if you understand power, you know exactly what the conservatives are going to do, which is whatever they want because they can, because they understand. And this, I just can't believe by now that we're still in this, like liberals are still in this place where they think they can talk to these people and like find common ground. Never. It's never going to happen again.
I mean, I think there's a segment of the population that genuinely believes that, like, oh, like talking in itself is a virtue, like compromise is a virtue.
No.
But I mean, which is wild. But I think, like, for the leadership, it's just like, I don't know. I have to be like cynical. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they don't care. Like, this is the best possible fucking thing. Like, they got rid of the Cheeto. They have Biden, like the most insipid candidate they could ever possibly run. They don't have to do anything because, like, they lost seats in the House. They don't have the Senate. They have fucking 6 judges in the Supreme Court who are going to be making decisions, like, ideologically aligned with all the fucking conservative ghouls for the rest of my lifetime.
Yep.
That's it. They're done. Oh, we tried. Sorry, we used all our arrows to, like, fucking kill Bernie. We're done now.
That should be, like, the slogan of the like, the DNC, right? Is we tried. Like, that's it. Because they really don't care if they win or lose, right? If the Democrats win, I mean, they're happy to sit in there and, you know, get more like fundraise. They're happy to go in and fundraise and just be the loyal opposition and, you know, ostensibly get things done. But most of the time, whether it's their fault or whether it's conservative Republican opposition, they usually just don't really get much done. If they lose, it's very easy because they're like, again, well, we tried, and now it's not our fault when things get bad. This is the Democratic Party in a nutshell, and it's like awful to see. And all of the pundits talking about a blue wave, we're going to take the Senate back. Oh my God, how fucking embarrassing is this? How fucking embarrassing for the Democratic Party. Like, okay, Joe Biden won the presidency. I think there's enough people, not just in the United States, but in the world, tuned into this presidential election. Enough people probably came out for Biden. And again, it's not any of this like, oh, why was the race so close? I guess Americans are still racist. Like I mentioned this like on my Instagram, but it's just because more people came out and voted. Like it's really all it is. Like Bae said earlier, more minorities this election went for Trump, right? It's just the mere fact that more people decided than 2016. Well, I'm just we got to get this guy out of here. Fine. All of the down ballot stuff. Holy shit. How embarrassing for the Democrats. And not to mention how embarrassing this is for the polling industry, which, like, did you see the one where they were up 17 in Wisconsin? They barely eked it out.
Oh my God.
I mean, these people like Nate Silver, like all the people at 538, maybe they should be also within this Inquisition discussion. I mean, it's just like totally misleading.
No, scammers and like data scientists, like
they're grifters.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, I thought we were just not going to listen to them after 2016. Like, why is anyone taking it seriously? Nobody can fucking predict anything anymore. That's what we should just go with.
It's a fucking professional con. Like, that's what it is. It's a professional con. And like, that's the game. To us, it appears as like a democratic veneer. And so we all participate because we think, hey, this is wonderful. Like the Democrats represent like the minority. It's team sports and they're the other side. And I don't want to be for the side that hates women and hates people of color. So I'll be a Democrat. And the Democrats, like, their job is professional losers. And they fucking know this. Like, it is to extort as much money as possible from the marginalized, the poor, etc. Because they want some amount of tacit, like, reform, a material benefit for supporting you. And the Democrats know this. And at the same time, they don't want to win on purpose. It keeps this political apparatus going. It's why they continue to like support candidates like MJ Hagar in Texas and Amy McGrath in Kentucky.
100%.
Instead of actually wanting like people who are about change, like Charles Booker used to be, etc. Like it's a fucking con, and it's done on purpose.
They spent $90 million on Amy McGrath's campaign. $90 million. And she lost by at least double digits. I don't know what the final margin was. I'm pretty sure it's close to 20 points. Like I don't know if Charles Booker would have won. I don't know if he would have beat Mitch McConnell, but he would have gotten a lot closer. I'll tell you that. the very least.
Or at least, like, if you're gonna like lose anyway, why not fucking run someone who actually has like ideals and policies and like ideas that people like broadly like? Like, why not just fucking
like
try?
because those ideals and policies, those ideas run counter to what the Democratic establishment and the DNC is. Like,
Yeah.
it's a protective racket, once again, for the same class that the Republicans serve. It is not meant for the working class. The policies that like literally could get them, in quote, to win, meaning like the D's to win and increase their number, run antithetical though to what the party actually is. Like, it's law enforcement for capital at the political level.
Yeah. It's like what Helen said earlier. They just don't want to win. And this is obvious because if you do look at the down ballot candidates that won like DSA did very well this election, right? I think like 85% of their endorsed candidates won. AOC comes out to try to like defend the squad and this, more progressive left, rightfully, by saying, hey, all you people who are saying, oh, we should never say the word socialism ever again. These like dipshits like John Hickenlooper, who's saying like, oh, we can't move left because I'll never forget this from one of the very early debates. He's like, we can't move left because then they'll start calling us socialists. Dumbass. They're doing that anyway. Like, because again, they understand power. They understand what people respond to. There are still people in this country, mostly older, who hear socialism, and they got to change their diapers, right? They change their Depends. But the reality is AOC is doing the right thing by saying, look, the people who want progressive policies, the people who endorse Medicare for all, who endorse the Green New Deal, who endorse these things that people actually fucking want, they are winning. And all of you people, all of you third way Democrats and all the corporate shills, all of you are losing. And it is so obvious, but you hear it from not only the actual politicians, but from the media. What did I see this morning on CNN? Who did I wake up to with my morning coffee ready to go? Fucking Mitt Romney on CNN, who came on to talk to Jake Tapper about how, the conservatives are not ready to give up on our ideals. We don't want Medicare for all. We don't want a Green New Deal. We don't want to give up fracking and oil and gas. Like, just outwardly, he doesn't give a shit because that's what he wants. And all these liberals who are saying, can't wait to work with these guys. Well, this is what they think. How are you going to work with somebody like that? It's just like the stupidest shit. And I'm getting frustrated, so I'm going to lower my voice now. I'm going to bring it back down. Okay. And it's very similar when you see them bring on John Kasich. How do you say his name? John Kasich?
Kasich, I think.
John Kasich. Why do we care about this guy? I thought he was going to deliver Ohio for the Democrats. They lost by 9 points. I don't think I'm like...
No, he got the hobo contingent.
Oh, excellent.
He did win that very key demographic.
That's awesome. So happy he could deliver that for the Democrats, who I'm pretty sure like Republicans have never been able to win without Ohio. I think that's what I saw on one of these things I was watching. They were able to deliver Ohio. Luckily, all these other states, like I said, they were able to go blue just because I think voter turnout was just higher in general, probably due to mail-in ballots. My overall point here is, why are we listening to conservatives when they don't have your same interests? It's really as simple as that. So the last thing I'm going to say, the people in power, they don't want to win. All of our liberal listeners here, I'm sure you actually want these like progressive, well, some of you actually do want change. You want some of these progressive policies, but you have to realize the people who represent you don't. Chuck Schumer doesn't care about you. Nancy Pelosi doesn't care about you. None of these ghouls care about you. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner we can maybe actually change some stuff. Go ahead, Bae. I don't know. You're saying something.
No, I mean, like, it speaks to this idea that the Democratic Party for the past, I mean, not just to the rightward drift, but especially since 2008, after Obama came into office, like, we had this complete fascination with suburban white Republicans. So every amounts of funding, every amounts of analysis from the DNC and from corporate backers has looked at courting this population to utter devastating failure. Their idea of America is that America itself is a rightward nation. So we must move right. So let's go pick off the debris from the Republican Party that is essentially still the Republican Party, and I hope they'll vote for us. And then in doing so, then we'll go tell these communities vastly in need of material benefits that, okay, like our policies, I guess they'll touch on you, but at the same time, let's not be too aggressive and progressive in these policy ideas because we don't want to scare off these suburban white moms. Like,
who went for Trump in even more numbers this election.
Exactly. Like, complete fucking baffling. And you continue to listen to these old hags like James Carville, these stupid motherfuckers.
Oh my God. Horrible.
I mean, unreal. Like, where do you even begin, right? Like, a proper analysis looks at people like Nina Turner and Bree Joy, like, and it understands the idea that this is a nation that is so depleted from capitalist exploitation and our general state of alienation that people need housing, people need food, people need healthcare, people need their debts removed, people need assurance that their economic needs are going to be met. And all these people are of every different identity, race, sex, etc. And it's fairly easy in that observation to say, hey, like, why don't I actually run on a campaign and therefore put forward policies that, what do? Reduce food insecurity. Let's get fucking houses to everyone. Expropriate San Francisco for the masses. Like, fucking healthcare, like, as far as the mind can imagine and as far as you could see, it's fucking free for everyone. But no, that is antithetical to who the party answers to. Insurance industry, pharma. Like, if I'm not mistaken, pharma, Wall Street, and tech were the most heavily dominant donators to the Biden campaign. And Trump picked up energy and oil and infrastructure, if I remember correctly, in regards to like these large fucking millions out the ass. And in fact, not even millions. What did we spend? 14 billions? The most expensive election in our history.
It's disgusting.
14 billion. In the midst of a fucking pandemic where people can't even get a second stimulus check for 12 fucking hundred. Like, unreal. And the Democrats can't counter that? You dumb motherfuckers.
Well, they tried the same exact strategy as they tried in 2016, right? They're going to appeal to the moderates. They're going to appeal to the curious Republicans or the independents who might say, you know what, maybe I could be convinced to vote for a Democrat. In 2016, this did not work because, Hillary Clinton was like one of the worst candidates imaginable. One of the like most hated, reviled politicians, maybe of all time.
But she had girl power.
But she had girl power. She had Margaret Thatcher energy, folks. So like, what can you do? She had to be the nominee. That was Obama right there. Biden wanted to run in 2016. It's a fairly common thing for the two-term president's VP to run. What did Barack Obama do? It's girl power time. All right, we're going to go with Hillary Clinton. Once again, the like biggest freak in the Democratic Party that like, I've said enough.
So much baggage.
Incredible baggage. But they tried the same exact strategy in 2020. What did we hear by every single dumbass pundit, people who somehow get paid to do this for a living, who like have no idea what they're talking about? We got to take the middle. We got to pick off that 3% of voters in the middle. We got to get Biden barely did better than Hillary Clinton in this campaign. Again, because Trump proved who he is. Enough people came out in those swing states to push them in the opposite direction. That is the only reason that the election flipped in my eyes. It's just more people came out in general. Like that's all, right? Like
more people wanted Trump out than anyone positively wanted Biden in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like a wider scope of analysis would also look at your comment on like our media punditry is being like, well, why aren't they smarter? How come they keep fucking up? Right. And you're like, well, it's not just because they're stupid and vapid careerists also.
No, they're manufacturing our consent.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Because who do they answer to? Like, you know what always cracks me up is when people complain about state-run media in these other countries. Like, we have capitalist-run media. Like, it's not accountable to you. It's not democratic, people. Like, please understand this. So when the media continues to bring out these Fareed Zakarias and Chris Cuomo's and everyone else that can like, and especially on their shows where they always have these like neoliberal goons from the 80s, especially when they analyze foreign policy, et cetera. And then these are the same people that Biden is looking to for his cabinet. He's looking to for advice. The fact that John Kasich is a potential cabinet nominee, dear God, let him take ag if he is, but we should also drag him out too, like Bill Barr.
Yeah.
But there's a larger understanding here that the reason they fuck up is intentional. And it could only, and it's almost subconscious intentional, right? You hear that and you think, oh, okay, well, they're purposely like, fucking up so they can maintain their positions and this grift continue. Partially true. But part of it is subconsciously they answer to capital. So they're going to sit here and Bernie will always be a scary character to them. AOC will always be a character that is an outlier and, okay, well, she's young and she's got a lot of power, so we should kind of be careful about her. But we also can marginalize a lot of the comments she says, or we can co-opt it. Like it's one big understanding that is tied into economics, but it affects everything else that is done. And at the same time, it shows a rift within the Democratic Party because Joe Biden wasn't simply saved because like there's a higher turnout. Of course, that's true at a surface level. Joe Biden was fucking saved because states like Arizona were unions and advocacy organizations who have been busting their ass for the past 4 to 8 years have finally turned a country like a state blue. The same thing for Georgia. It's the exact same thing. So once again, we have these old white men in the Democratic Party riding the coattails of communities of color to success and then leaving them out to dry and governing in a rightward manner. And that's why people end up leaving the party itself, right? Even if you're not technically a part of the party, you're consistently a Democratic voter. They have ideas that more align with what you believe, et cetera. So for the most part, you show up and you throw a D, like you check that box, right? Every 4 years. But they're shedding people as like these election results have shown. Because when you run people like Joe Biden, who's literally the architect of the 94 crime bill, who was literally the minority whip for whipping up Fuhrer in votes for the Iraq war, who was one of the major people in Barack Obama's ear in 2009, telling him, hey, like, you should probably listen to these people like Lieberman and saying that a public option is too much. And if you throw that as part of the ACA, like, we're out. When you had a fucking super majority, like no other, right? He's always been a conservative voice. And it goes right along with what we're saying about the punditocracy. Like the media itself also answers to a specific person. So that's why we're currently caught up in this never-ending election cycle. We feel like nothing ever improves.
Well said, fleshing out what I was trying to say, I guess, with more people came out. Well, the reason more people came out, which you brilliantly illustrated, is people on the ground, right? Unions, organizers, activists, going out, knocking doors, talking to people, getting people who wouldn't have voted to actually come out and say, you know what, yeah, Donald Trump cannot continue. He needs to go. Those were the people that swung the election, not these fucking freaks in the middle. Hey, here's a nice statistic. In 2016, 90% of Republicans voted for Trump. 2020, 93%. Great job getting more Republicans to vote against Trump. Excellent work. So maybe we should try that strategy again. Yeah, right. Maybe we'll try that strategy again in 24. Maybe this time it'll actually work.
Oh, I don't know. Like we should probably run a Harris Kasich ticket in 2024. That seems pretty beautiful for the idea. But I mean,
Barron and Sasha, 2028.
Oh, true party of unity.
Yeah,
that's right.
God.
Well, maybe now we can transition a little bit. Maybe we can talk about our electoral system for, we'll talk maybe another 20 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less. What can we do to fix this awful way that we elect our leaders, right? We have this electoral college system. We have this way that we elect people based on, you don't really have a choice, right? It's just one or the other. If you want to vote for a third party candidate, most people can't really do that. The way that we elect people, it's always a strategic choice. Most people don't actually vote for the person they want, right? If I had that option, I would have voted for Gloria La Riva, right? Unfortunately, I live in a swing state. I had to do what I had to do. Okay. But if I had the option, if this were actually a democratic country, there would probably be another option, another way to vote. And that most likely would be ranked choice voting, which does exist in some districts in some states, like Maine. That's how they elect their representatives. Do one of you want to talk about ranked choice voting for a little bit?
Yeah, so ranked choice voting is basically where voters are allowed to rank their preferred choices in whatever order. You can just do one like candidate if that's like the only, if you're like a ride or die, like if it's only Gloria La Riva, nobody else, no Howie Hawkins, then you can do that. And the candidate who gets more than 50% of like the number one spot wins automatically. If nobody gets a clear majority, then it goes into a runoff where the person with the fewest votes gets eliminated, and then the second choice gets like their votes. So mostly this is done in like kind of local level elections. Like there's a bunch of cities and counties that do it, like Cambridge, Massachusetts, Minneapolis, etc. And the hope is that it discourages exactly what Fidel is talking about, like strategic voting. So where people don't actually get to vote for anyone that they want, it's mainly like maybe voting against someone that you don't want in there, or voting for someone that you think is like likely to win. But I think like even more interesting than ranked choice voting, which is kind of a nice next step up just because like we have examples of it here, would be something like proportional representation where districts get multiple representatives. I mean, that's dependent on the population, and the districts that get drawn under proportional representation tends to be bigger than like what we have now. But each party would run a number of candidates according to like whatever spots are available, and each party that wins a certain amount of votes over a threshold would get like a proportionate representation, hence the name. So like if you have 10 representatives, you know, like in Canada, like the Liberal Party might get 5, the Conservative Party might get 3, you know, Bloc Québécois will get 1, and then, you know, the NDP would get 1, something like that. So like you actually can have a system where even if it's a relatively smaller party that represents like a more left perspective, or sometimes I guess a more right perspective, there's a chance that like you could actually have say in the government because you would have coalition governments, and your vote counts, right? Like, so everyone has to campaign in every district, and people can like truly vote for the party that they want rather than just like constantly compromising and then experiencing this rightward shift over time.
That's like the main difference between like parliamentary democracy and representative democracy, right? Because I think England does a very similar system, correct?
England, I think, is still first past the post, but they're a parliamentary system.
Yeah, they have a parliamentary system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's obvious, like what should happen, right? And it gives a lot of power to people who would never even enter politics, right? Who would never enter government in the first place. It's so difficult to get people who have left-wing ideals into government just because they have to face these party machines, right? Democratic and Republican Party, they're so dominant. Like what do leftists have to do? They have to run with the Democrats when, as we've discussed in great detail, most of the time we don't even agree with these Democrats on anything, really. Maybe besides some vague gestures toward identity. But really, when it comes to the economics, the left does not really agree with liberals, really at all. So having a system that is, representative, having a system that you get to rank people and not have to vote strategically would be a huge leg up in actually, I don't know, like making this country democratic in the first place. Because I hear a lot, especially over the last week, we've restored faith in our democracy. I'm having trouble pinpointing what is democratic about this, not only this country in a lot of ways, but our electing process, because the Electoral College is not democratic. The Senate is not democratic. The Supreme Court is a group of unelected academics. How is that democratic? I mean, I'm really having trouble pinpointing where the democracy is in America. So this, at the very least, would give us a way to be able to put more people that we agree with in those positions of power, to get these messages out. More people will hear them, and the message will propagate. That's something. It's not the way forward, but it's something. And just the question I have for people who are, they're, ideologically aligned with the Electoral College. They're just evangelical fanaticism for the Electoral College. Why is it okay for you that we elect governors and almost every other representative, but let's just say governors, because these are basically the president of whatever state they represent, right? That's like basically what they are. Why is it okay to elect governors by popular vote, but it's not okay to elect the president by popular vote? It's not okay to do one person, one vote for the most important office in this country, but it's okay to do for all the individual states. I mean, just think about it. It makes no sense. Absolutely makes no sense. Oh no, that means they won't go to the smaller states. Nobody will give a shit about them. Well, here's the secret. These candidates only go where? Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. Where else do they go besides maybe a little trip here and there to California to show face, or to Texas to show face? I don't understand like where the Electoral College is giving more shine to the less represented places in this country. It doesn't at all.
Right. Because you just divide the map up into solidly blue, solidly red. Nobody gives a shit about the interests of anybody in those states. And if you're in, like California, like your vote just mathematically matters less.
Yeah.
And then you just get down to these like few swing districts, a few swing states. And that's it. Like those are the only states where like anyone talks about anything. And good luck if you fucking live in Rhode Island.
Yeah, good luck if you're a Democrat in West Virginia, Good luck if you're a Republican in California. Your vote doesn't mean shit. I saw this like I saw this like news update from Politico a couple days ago. It says there are 3,141 counties in the United States. These are the 21 that will decide the election. What? Like, why are you even running this headline? This is like just telling everybody.
It's a cool democracy.
Yeah, sweet democracy, dude. Like 21 counties are going to decide this election, I guess. Like, and we love this system, and we love how free we are in this country. It's just incredible shit. Just unbelievable.
I mean, maybe they could just do it where like only, I don't know, 69 counties vote every year. Nice.
That's it. Yeah.
That's
all we get.
Like if I had the simplistic desire, like out of anything else, it would be for like Americans to truly wrestle with the question that are we a democracy? Like understand it historically, understand it in a contemporary understanding, and start questioning everything around you. Like, what is democratic about this? What is democratic about this? Like, ask that question and you're going to find out almost absolutely nothing. And historically, we were established like that, right? Like the Electoral College is a totem to racism. The Senate itself was a totem to classism. Like when you understand these things, when you read like Hamilton's articulations in the Federalist Papers, when you read all this type of shit, everything you like truly get to stand historically is that this system is in place and it's functioning exactly as it should, based on old dead white men, right? Like we don't even question the idea that our Constitution is a document so old and decrepit, and yet we cling to it with such patriotic fervor, as if to prove our Americanness and our loyalty to this nation, without actually being like, hey, fucking Chile just voted about 3 weeks ago to upend their neoliberal dictator like constitution from the 70s. France is what, like on their 5th like iteration of a constitution? Like, why do we sit here and cling to these incredibly arcane notions of democracy?
Exactly. These documents were written by white slaveholders that decided that, well, first of all, slavery, totally fine. Women probably shouldn't vote. Property owners, all good. Non-property owners, don't want to hear it. Get in line. I mean, and this is the document written, what was it, 1787? Yeah, like 250 years ago. And we still hump this shit and say like, this is the greatest document ever made. We live in the greatest democracy in the world. How? I really don't understand. So I think you make a great point. At the very the very beginnings of these conversations should be, how is this democratic? Because we have way too many assumptions in this country, way too many assumptions about freedom. Well, you got to ask yourself, well, what is freedom? What is democracy? And when you look around at what the structures that we all live under, I think you'll quickly realize, I don't think any of that exists, at least not for most people living in this country. Again, if you're like a rich white dude, you have all the freedom in the world, do whatever the fuck you want, right? But if you're just a regular working class person, probably not going to have these same opportunities. And at the very least, historically speaking, and for most people living today, it's still the case.
And I would hope people also, like, if you want to take that route of questioning and think about something current, think about, is the Get Out to Vote campaign really truly democratic? And if you do that, then you'd have to think through, well, what are the problems of getting out the vote? And I've got a list here of things that kind of expose how undemocratic just the voting process is in this nation.
Hell yeah.
Because if we address this shit, it would make just the ability for us to vote so much more easier, and therefore also, it will also make it so much more democratic. We have automatic voter registration for all US residents and Americans living abroad. Automatic. Everyone, from the day you're born, from the day you're a citizen. And also, you're going to hear this and it's going to sound questionable to many of you. If you're not a citizen, but you live in this nation, you have the right to vote.
100%.
So also, we're going to include the right to vote to incarcerated individuals, undocumented people, and most importantly, we're going to get rid of felon disenfranchisement. And if you have a question about, well, undocumented people, I mean, I'm all for respecting them and like getting them worker protections, but I don't know if they should have the right to vote. They contribute taxes like no other citizen. When you look at that statistically, they produce goods, they produce profits for capitalists that directly go into the American system itself, while also, most importantly, going into capitalist pockets. Apart from this, we should look at mail-in voting to be something that is automatic for individuals, especially for our disability communities. And we need to increase extensively the ability of voting sites.
I mean, fuck it. Just do it online. I paid my taxes online. Why can't I vote online?
Right? Yes. Unfucking real that it's that hard. But mind you, it is that hard on purpose. We can also make the election day a freaking federal holiday where everyone is excused from work. Yep. It literally should be a federal holiday.
I would like election week, by the way. That would be kind of nice.
Yes.
Let's just take the week off.
Yeah, vacation week.
Yeah.
And the three larger issues that in themselves might not necessarily seem as if they address this issue, but it also is, and it's part of this democratic process. And racist gerrymandering, abolish the Senate and the Electoral College, because these three institutions also contribute to the way we vote on voting day and in the weeks before. Unreal that we can't even understand that this Get Out to Vote campaign is not just simply going against oppressive and suppressive powers that don't want you to vote. It is like currently, right? It's not just, the evil governor, Brian Kemp in Georgia, and all these all these Republicans in the South who are conspiring to gerrymander districts. Yeah, all that's going on. But there's larger issues too. And all of them, if answered, make a more democratic nation and a more democratic voting process. And we should all have that.
Deadass. That was quite the intersectional analysis there, my friend. Quite the dialectical thinking that I think I was looking for, and hopefully our listeners are looking for.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. That for me, that about covers what we wanted to talk about, right?
I think so.
I think so. I mean, it's hard not to feel despair just in 2020 in general, but we'll get to see Trump cry, hopefully. Drugs have won the war on drugs. Congratulations. Shout out to drugs this year.
Small victories and big victories.
Small victories.
Except in Oregon.
And
I gotta say, shout out Oregon for decriminalizing all drugs, basically. Well done.
Exactly. They've won. Drugs have won.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, drugs did
Yes.
win. Okay, that is true. I thought you were saying the drugs won the war on drugs just historically, which I think is also true. But now, drugs have really made a push on the front lines in Oregon. So, congrats, drugs. We're so proud of you. You've worked really hard to get to this point, and I'm really excited to see people not go to prison for doing drugs, trying to have fun, or struggling with addiction, of course. But the real win here is for drugs. So congratulations. Hats off.
And then our next step should obviously be we free everyone from prison who are incarcerated for these now bogus charges.
Yes. Onward. On to the next.
Onward and upward. Always twirling towards freedom.
In our beautiful nation. Any last words from y'all?
That I hope our wonderful listeners that actually tune in aren't people that are going to find themselves at brunch in the weeks to come, that they're truly committed to a better nation. And in order to understand that means to wrestle with some very hard questions and also be incredibly demanding and forthright in those demands.
Yep. I know we're giving liberals a hard time here. The reason is because it is understood that conservatives are wrong. That, like, it's really as simple as that. So we talk about liberals a lot, and I hope you don't think that we're targeting you out there and this is malice, really. We target the liberal politicians because they are repellent human beings that deserve punishment. But the liberal voters out there, we're not really, we're not trying to shit on you so much. We're just trying to get you to see the light a little bit. And it's really important that we don't go back to brunch. It's very important. And the reason we're doing this is because we're here to say the work has just begun, right? The work has been ongoing. Don't get me wrong. Activists and organizers and all these communities all around the country have been doing this work. The big part is over. Trump is no longer, but onward. We can't get complacent now. That's really the big message.
Trump is gone, but the actual hard work of getting Medicare for all, a Green New Deal,
yep,
police reform, criminal justice reform, all of that's still there. Yeah. And all of that has to stay on the table regardless of what demented old person is in the White House.
Deadass. All right. Our next episode is going to be, we've decided, Bae is going to be headlining our discussion on philanthrocapitalism, which I'm very excited about. Hopefully that will be, we're going to record that probably, in like 2 weeks, I think we decided, something like that.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Okay. So look for that, hopefully around, or a little bit before or around Thanksgiving. We'll be dropping that one. I hope you have a safe November. I hope that the judicial coup from Team Trump is not successful. Got to be careful about that one. I don't think it will be. We'll see. And, keep doing the cha-cha slide for Team Biden. We did it, folks. Game over. We beat the final boss. We beat Voldemort, and we're out here winning. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.